You would go there and you would be intoxicated, and sometimes you wouldn't even really be aware of what was going on around about you. And yes, some instances you'd be sexually abused.
Taylor, a victim of grooming gangs in Scotland, is speaking out for the first time.
There was times where I would wake up and I had no recollection of the night before. No recollection whatsoever.
Abused with her friend by Pakistani men in Glasgow, Taylor went missing from her care home countless times.
At the time we were just young and we didn't really understand much what was going on, and it wasn't until we would actually get a bit older we realised this is actually wrong.
GB News has reviewed Taylor's social care records, which contain several key indicators of her being groomed, such as being in the company of older men and returning to the unit intoxicated.
It was quite sickening because I always believed I was in a place that I was cared about, and to actually find out that they actually had an incline that stuff like this was going on, and that's the bit that gets me the most, because this could have been stopped and it never.
Taylor's records reveal that at one point her name appeared in a CSE investigation and that the police visited her unit, but they failed to properly investigate.
No police officer ever asked to speak to me regarding the sex exploitation claim that they came to the unit with. I wasn't aware that anybody had even visited.
Taylor's testimony comes as debate swirls in Scottish politics around an inquiry into grooming gangs in the country. The Conservatives put forward an amendment that would have required research into group-based child sexual exploitation, but it was voted down by the SNP and the Greens. The Scottish Justice Secretary Angela Constance argued that there were no current police investigations into grooming gangs similar to the pattern exposed in many towns in England, where predominantly Pakistani men have targeted vulnerable white children.
What do you feel like when you hear that?
Well, I felt sick to my stomach because it does happen in Scotland, and I've been there and I've lived it. And if it's happened all these years ago, I can guarantee it's still happening now.
Labour MP Joni Reid has accused the SNP of belonging to an establishment cover-up by resisting further investigation.
Young women and girls are being sexually exploited in Scotland just as they are in England and Wales. The suggestion that it stops at the border is irresponsible and frankly offensive.
Angela Constance said that a strategic group the government had set up would be best placed to examine the issue. But data released from Freedom of Information requests have shown that Police Scotland has no markers for group or gang-based abuse. So if the Scottish authorities cannot even identify grooming gang patterns, how can it tackle them?
We don't know whether it's a problem or not yet, so they're refusing to look into an issue which their own group has told them that they don't have sufficient data on. Can you just do a rapid case review, just look at the data and get some independent experts in to try and understand the extent of the problem, and then we can decide whether we need a national inquiry.
What I want to see happen is changes made. That is all I want. I just want to see this never happen to anyone else again. And that is all I want.
But until a proper investigation is launched in Scotland, many fear that Taylor will not get what she wants. Charlie Peters, GB News, Glasgow.